3 gave me exactly what I imagined. You get, like
Okay.
its execution was okay. So that's just my experience.
Okay. I'm sure you've learned one or two things about that. We talked about prompts the last class, I suppose, where we talked about the prompts being the centerpiece of what it is you are doing. Your prompt determine your outputs, and you can give the AI the same prompt, and it will give you different outputs almost every time. So I wanted to know your experience because everything we are doing here, eventually you will go and do it by yourself. So if you don't have any experience, you will learn the hard way. So it's good that you share your experience, I share my experience, and then you learn quickly and you know what not to do the next time. Yeah, so that's it. What I picked from what you said is prompts. Prompts is very important. I stressed it out the last time. The more you refine it, the more you are specific, the more it gets close to what it is you are doing. Once you have too much thing going on in your prompts, it won't, it won't know which one to stick to, right? It's precise, specific. And you remember I said that if you have a big project, like you have like a shopping e-commerce website to build, start off by breaking it down to manageable tasks, right? Little by little. So you'll be giving the AI the prompts gradually, and you'll be patching things up until you have a full application. Okay, so let's get into what we are about to do today. Today is just talking about experience, your experience, my experience, and what you can learn from it. And the next class, 104, will cover more things. So, what do we have today? We've gotten your own experience as regard what you've been doing so far. I will encourage you to also keep doing more. What I mean by that is keep adding, keep practicing, keep doing more stuff with AI. And you also talk about the fact that one particular AI was not doing it, or was not doing what you want, or was not giving you the result that you wanted to see. So you will see that all every time. You notice that while I was doing mine as well, I had two prompts, or rather, while we were doing it, the example that we did, the login example, we had two prompts. We had TEAR, and then we have ChatGPT. For me, ChatGPT, sometimes we get it right, sometimes it doesn't. You can explore as many AI tools as you want. You are not supposed to stick to one. In fact, if we go in detail, there's a place where you tell it the prompt, or the, what's the word now? Um, the, not the agent, more like the prompt to use. Auto, I'm looking for that here. So it's more in a deep in the settings, so you can specify the AI to use. You can tell it if you're using Gemini, or the kind of AI you want to use precisely, to as they evaluate the prompt for you, that will give you the result that you want. So you can actually specify. By the time we go deep down in the course, we'll experiment on every other available AI, that you can plug into Visual Studio Code or this IDE itself. So talking about experience, number one, starting with the fact that I was not an early adopter of AI. Yes, I didn't start up with AI. Um, I was not an early adopter of AI. I was late into the game, and that was not because of, most times it's not everybody that jump into the trend very early in time. So I took my time before going into it. In fact, it took non-programmers to ask me like, are you not using AI? In fact, the people were not programmers. They were just like, are you not using ChatGPT? Have you heard about ChatGPT? Knowing that I was a programmer, I didn't even wanted to care what AI was all about. But immediately I stumbled into it, I saw the value. So the idea is I share this experience, and I want to share it again, how I got saved by AI, or how I I did stuff under very fast stuff. So I went to a client's place and I had the opportunity. This client required that you go to their platform, right? Before you do anything, you have to log in. All the code is in the client's place. You are not supposed to do a remote connection to the client system. You are supposed to work from the client's office if you want to fix any code. Yeah, it still happens in 2025. So of course, an enterprise client. And the thing is that when I got there, right, I saw the challenge, and it's not a fix that you could do in over 1 hour or thereabouts, because I have a short time to stay. I can't stay there the whole day. We'll have other things to do. So I thought it was something very small, and I realized that it was a very big thing, and I needed to build the whole interface, kind of. So, and I say, okay, let me try AI for the first time. One of the things I did was the system used an internal framework, right? The first thing is I gave the AI the framework, and I told it to build an interface for me to match what exactly I want. And guess what? Within 5 minutes, that was done, and I tested it. The majority of the time that I spent was testing to make sure that it worked, as opposed to spending time developing it and then testing it. So at that point up forward, I knew that I needed AI by my side, to carry on with what it is I will be doing in my life. So yes, the other thing again is AI in action. We've already seen this. You guys have tried it. You said that you wanted it to do a clock for you, and then it did it very well. Most of the part that AI shine most of the time is boilerplates. We talked about boilerplate last week, like being able to generate quick startup stuff for you, login screen, template for a barbing salon, template. It can quickly do that for you, in a twinkle of an eye, and then you are good to go. Another part is debugging, so that's in action. This thing is generating by itself. So this is not what I had in mind, but all these things are generating myself. But that's good. Another thing again is that we have skeptics out there in terms of I used to be a skeptic before I finally adopt AI, right, into my workflow. So, and we talked about the fact that yes, you should be a skeptic, because you don't know how these things is generating. Not that you don't know how it's generating, but there are things that you need to test. You can't just generate a code and then you take it to live server, or you take it to your client and say it's working. You have to do a lot of tests, right? And by the way, the AI guy can also generate tests for you. So today I use AI for quite a lot of things. I use AI for debugging. I rarely use it for code explanation. I rarely use it because I'm not really learning, so to say. I don't use it for so I use it more for debugging, and I use it to run tests. So that's to generate test code. Also for documentation. He read my mind. And then he brought the documentation thing out. So I also do it for documentation, because apart from the fact that you have the AI thing working, some people will still need to read how to do stuff. So you still need to have documentation. In fact, one of the things I did was to tell AI to read my documentation and write a code to actually use the code that I wrote. So when you get deeper into these things, you will see how you can tell AI to do things, and AI keep feeding information to themselves, right? So I'm sure you must have seen that stuff before, where you have two phones, you have one AI talking to another AI, and then they respond and they answer themselves. So you can have an AI generate code for you, debug the code that it has done, test the code, and also create documentation. It can do all these things, and what you just do is to supervise. I've actually practicalized all these stuffs, and then what I do generally is to supervise as the human being that knows all, to supervise and see that everything is in place. You don't have to trust your AI generation code 100%. Yeah, that's where you are there to supervise. So I will, like I said, I don't want to do practical, for you guys. The idea is that you are supposed to go and practicalize all these things. We'll have sessions for practical later. This class was devoted to experience and answering questions, especially questions that look like, why is this working, or why is this not working for me? That was actually one of the major parts for this class. So let's look at best practice. So what are the best practices when coding with AI? Now, the idea is not just to generate and then forget about it. So this, my AI tool, is even helping me out and suggesting things for you. So number one is always read and understand the generated AI code. This is not what I want to do. So number one, always read it and know and understand it. I know that there's a lot you will not understand, especially if you are learning. So that's understandable. If you are just learning and you don't understand the code itself, that's fine. However, make sure you test. Make sure you test very well, and make sure it passes all the test scenarios or criteria. And this testing thing varies on what it is you ask it to generate for you. You're asking it to do, let's say you want it to find an interest of, if I've worked for 10 years, what's my compound interest if I put 100,000, right? You want it to write a code to do that for you. After you must have generated a code to do that, what's next? You have to test it with all form of data to see if it will stand if you will be able to do what it was, designed to do. When you don't test, it means you are actually, preparing for disaster. So apart from the fact that you read to understand, you need to test. Yeah, I mentioned that if you don't even understand the programming language, the next thing is to make sure that you test your code very well. So make sure you use AI as a peer programmer. So what does a peer programmer means? It's like your buddy, right? It's there for you, someone that can quickly help you, not for you to rely on solely and say, oh, AI, do this for me. One of the ways what peer programmers does, or what peer programmers do, is they review your code. You review each other's code, which is very cool. It can also, in reviewing it, you can provide feedback and suggestions in how your code can better be placed. And this can just by simply copying your code into ChatGPT and say, what do you think? And say, how can I better optimize this? And say, will this scale? Do you get? So you can paste your code there and ask it everything you need to. Now, you and I agree that you can't paste all your whole project, and that's why everything needs to be done modular in the sense that you need to take it gradually. If it's the login screen you're working with now, ask it all the questions you want to ask it on your login screen. Is the button okay like this? What's the suggestion on this? And as you're asking it, what are you doing? You are learning. I'm sure you're not going to ask it that same question next time, because now you know what is supposed to be there. Okay, so debug and test everything. We've talked about that. And that's talking to this one, the best practice. Learn to ask better prompts. So from your experience, the more you use AI, the more you perfect the way it responds and the way it's reply to what you're saying. So your prompts is very important. And to ask better questions. No, learn to use better prompts. Now, another thing is that is inside ChatGPT. Do you notice that? I don't know how well you've been using your prompts lately. Do you notice that sometimes, especially for advanced programmers, or yes, for advanced programmers, there are some style of coding that the AI will be presenting to you that you are not that you're not familiar with, but you disagree with it. Everything that AI does is not how do I put it now? It's not final, right? It doesn't mean AI generated it. It doesn't mean that that is the standard, right? It has vast knowledge of good programming patterns and languages. So it can fairly give you some standard, which are not bad. They are okay. But based on the fact that you also have your own standard and you have a good foundation of programming, you can enforce it to do some certain things in some certain ways. For example, now, one I can quickly come with is maybe variable naming convention. So the way you name your variable. So if you are using camel case, Pascal case, and everything like that, and in your code, it has already generated using some certain value. So you can design or put a special caveats in your that will not appear in your prompt. That would have been in the background. And whatever result is going to be giving you, it has that in his knowledge that, hey, this guy I'm dealing with, he wants his code to be written in this particular pattern. So we'll look at that in our next class. We'll look at that. We won't go into it now. So this is just still talking about your best practices, your best practice when coding with AI. So another thing is we use AI to speed off boring tasks. There's a lot of boring tasks out there, like tasks that for example, if I'm supposed to create types, so let me show you one of the boring tasks. Let me show you a boring task. So this is a database, and let's say I have employee. Okay, so let me use local. So let's say I have user. So this is a table that this is another language, by the way. This is DDL, data description language, for database. So you have this data here. Of course, it understands this data. But if you want to create a map means you want to have a variable that matches this field, and you want to create it in another programming language, let's say Python. You want to create it in Python. Now, do you know that I have to do this manually by hand? I have to, although there are some things that I'm not going to do by hand. These ones are database related. So these are the fields. Even though it looks long, let me make it less scary and focus on the main thing. I think from here, we don't need all these ones. Yeah. So the main thing is all these fields. We want to create these fields. We want to make it an object, right? So how do we do that? Normally, we're supposed to write a code to do it for us, or rather, we're supposed to do it manually with Python. That's if we're using Python or any programming language you're using. You're supposed to map one-on-one with this. Now, this is boring to do because you are going to the database to look through things. So I want to write a code to help me out and do it for me. This is boring. You don't have to be typing this one after the other. You already know what to do. It can do it for you. Let's use JavaScript, or let's use Python. Oh, we already have main. We already have one Python script here. So I would just say it should convert it to a Python class or object, or do an ORM kind of feature. You can give it any task you want to do. You already have the database, so you can give it that prompt. So convert to Python class object. So it should decide whatever it thinks it wants to do with it. Now, like I said, it's supposed to help us write code faster. Normally, we are supposed to do this manually, which can be very not too funny. So let's see what it has done for us. Okay, so you can see that it has done this for us. This is Python programming language. One of the things he did here was creating a user. When you create I don't want to start explaining Python to you now, but the idea is that it has created the class I want to create, looking at the DLL of the database. It has created what I want. This is what I was supposed to do manually with my hand, typing it one by one. Why now? So do you get? So that then you can create it in any language, not just Python. If you wanted to do JavaScript or Golang or anything, you can do that, and then it will do that for you. Okay, so let's move on to other things. 103. Okay, so the assignment, I think that will just round up what we'll have for today. So we'll look at assignments. I want to give you guys assignments. Now I want you to, so the assignment is going to be interesting, and that is, apart from just saying do this, do that, I want you to pick a semi-big project. Yes, semi-big project, not a full project, just a project that gives you ability to have not just one page, because we are used to giving it one task to do per time. I want you to give it 2 projects or 2 tasks. I want to give you guys 2 tasks. One task is that the whole thing is for you to build a login page that has a backend support. A login page that has it. So that's a full login experience, meaning that you have, so let me put it out there. So the assignment is as follow. Create a full login experience. We already did login page. So create a full login experience with email and password. So that's like the total thing. So you need to create, I don't want to do, okay, let me do registration form. Yeah, registration form, create login form, create dashboard for login users. So create, now the problem will be that, okay, let me not put the database there because that will actually hang you guys. So let me leave it at this. I want you to, so let me make it a little bit complex for you. Not complex in that way. So let me bring it, so I will not make it just HTML. Using create a full login experience with email and password using Vite. Okay, using React, or let me say Vite and React. So in case you don't know what Vite is a development tool. Is actually Vite.js. So which is Vite this Vite.js.dev, and the idea is that it makes development way much easier. It's fine if you've not heard about it before, but that's the idea. That's where AI comes in. If you have any issue installing it, you can reach out to me or ask the AI. It's gonna tell you what to go and where to go about it. But let's just quickly see what the site has, so that you also get to look at it quickly. It's part of your assignment and it's compulsory. Please, let's take it serious. Let's look at it. Let me show you that so that you can see the site. So this Vite, it's a very powerful tool, right? And I can't go on and on start explaining, but the idea is that this is the site, Vite.dev. So getting started is there. You can let ChatGPT give you a one-line explanation of all this. You don't need to read all this stuff. But whenever you are getting things done and you are seeing progress, make sure you bookmark or you highlight progress in what you are doing. Even though the assumption is that you don't know anything in tech, any small thing you see, make sure you grab it. Yes, any small thing you learn, don't just forget about it and say, oh, I don't need it. No, any small thing, if this is what you are asked to do for this project, right, go and learn it, know about it, and then make it a core thing as part of your work process, workflow. So there's a lot of things in tech. There's a lot of things to catch up with. Once a new word has been introduced, a new program has been introduced, make sure you jump at it and then learn as much as you can. Don't go too deep. Just take it from the surface. That is, whatever is giving you, learn it. If you, let's ask ChatGPT something now about setting up Vite, so that you see what it's going to say. So let's go ahead and say you don't even need to ask it how. Just tell it to do it for you. The assignment I gave you, tell it to do it for you. And when it's now telling you things you don't understand, obviously the next thing is for you to ask it, what do you mean by this? Do you get? And then it's going to extend and go ahead and create. So the whole process is there. Setting up Vite, React, blah blah. You're supposed to do this. Now if you don't know what node this is, guess what? You will ask it, okay, what's this? The next thing is you go, like I said, I'm always available for you to, if you get stuck anywhere, I will help you out and so that you can move further. And remember what I said, when you see a new thing, like now, guess what? This is new to you. If this is new to you, learn more about it. Remember, learn from the surface. Don't go too deep. Don't get lost, because every new thing that is introduced is a big thing on its own. So don't get too deep and overwhelmed into the whole thing. But by the time you see this next time, this will not be a problem anymore again for you. And just follow the step, and you can see how I break it down step by step, compared to the website. The website is a whole lot of story that you don't really care about. Not that you don't care about it, but it takes time, and sometimes it's I won't say it's not relevant, it's too detailed for what you want to do. So you just want to get out there, do things fast, break whatever you need to break and fix it, and then you move on. Remember, majorly the AI guy is supposed to assist you in doing stuff. Yeah, supposed to assist you in doing stuff. So let's get back to the assignments and then we'll conclude for today. Okay, create a full login experience with email and password, meaning you are going to put in your email and password, but you need to create a registration form, a login form, create a dashboard for login users. So all the look and feel must, okay, look and feel, okay, all the look and feel must be consistent with the rest of the application. Yes. So what that is this, most times if you tell AI to generate this for you to do it, it will do all these things separately. So you need to be able to be consistent in letting it do these things for you, like as if it's doing like a full app. So putting this in mind, I will release you guys with this assignment for you to do. So I'll be expecting your results later in the week.